Alright, CSS battle time. Had a bit of a false start. I didn't get to get started, but I got started. Let's hit the 15. I didn't get anything down on the page, but I have been looking at this a little bit. So here's my thought on this. This circle shape is the most complex thing here on the page. Otherwise, we just have squares. But what I'm thinking is if I have an element that is just a rectangle, I can have a conic gradient starting at 0, and I just have to figure out what this degree is, and I can have a radial gradient. And if I do, I can have a radial gradient set up at left if I center the height on this thing, or at 0%, I think is all I have to put, and then have it go from blue to yellow and just have it size to whatever this is, so it'll look fine. And then do a conic gradient that will be what am I saying? No, the conic gradient is going to be the blue and then transparent, and the radial gradient will be transparent to yellow. That's what I'm going to do. So the yellow will only be, on these outer fringes here, past this blue square. Does that make sense? All right. I'll put in the description whether all this works, but I think what I'm going to do for the HTML is a background of blue, right? And we're going to box shadow. We're going to do the light blue is going to be 0, 0, 0, and then 2-inch. It doesn't really matter what the value is, as long as it's a big one, because this is going to be the outer box shadow, and then I'm going to do a box shadow inset 0, and then we're going to do, this one's going to be the important one. Let's start with just 50 pixels at the moment and make it yellow. That seems like a lot for those layers. And I think if I bring the yellow one down to the right dimensions with margin, 50 by 100. Okay. And then we can up that inset by 60, and there we go. So, I mean, I've got that part set with the box shadow on the HTML and the margin. Now the body will be the size of the HTML here, this yellow square, with 8 pixels of margin on it. There's been raccoons around, the dog's barking at them. Let's see. So, okay, so if this is working, is that the best way to make those boxes? I mean, once you do inset and then all of this, it's quite a few characters, but I feel like that's pretty efficient. I'm just gonna leave it. I don't. We'll just get the rest of this working, and then we can revisit that. All right. So on the body, this is where I need to make the conic gradient work, and I think I'm not going to try to do both conic gradients because the positioning on them. I think what I'll do is I'll do one element, get it right, and I think this is the one to start with because it can start at the 0 position, for the yeah, I can just designate the degrees that we're turning before we go to transparent. And then I can make another element that's sized and positioned and scale -1 down there. So that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to do a new background. And we are going to do a conic gradient. And we're going to have to do a radial gradient on top of this. Now, if I made this a circle, the border radius would actually be less. And then I could have a paragraph tag inside the body that have the same background and just be scale -1. I'd have to size the paragraph tag, but I have to do that anyways. Maybe I do border radius instead of a radial gradient. I don't know why I put 1Q on a conic gradient. That's for radial gradients, but you know, happens. So we're gonna do the blue, right? And we're gonna go to, what is that? That's like 135 degrees, let's just say. And then we're gonna go to transparent, 0. Okay. So now we kind of got the right idea. Oh, if I don't do if I do border radius, I have to shift the conic gradient over. I mean, I could do that. That'll be fine. It'll be fine. Let's just do that. Let's hit the at syntax, and let's say 30 pixels for right now. Ooh, that's too little. 80, 90. That's where it was. 20. Whoa. Okay. 15. It's going to be weird because we have that 8 default margin. So this would be 125 if I did a margin 0. That's what we're looking at here. Do I want to... And then vertically, we're going to go 100 pixels. Let's say 90, 80, 82, 81. Seems odd. Seems odd. I hope this works out. I really do. Border dash radius 50%. Okay. And we're going to margin it a little bit more. 10, 20. There we go. And then we can just fix the positioning. 20. Ooh. 105. Cool. It became regular numbers because we actually overwrote that 8 margin, you know. 70, 71, 72, 70. 70 seems good. Okay, weird numbers. That's gonna, the pixels are gonna eat up the most. Now, 135 degrees. Can I turn that into a percentage? Let's try. Instead of 135, it's not 25%, so we're gonna be in like the 37%. Ooh. 38, 37, 36. Okay, 135 was much cleaner. I'm gonna start with that and not mess with it. All right, so if we put a p tag on here, and we give it a height of 100%, and a scale, oh, I'm hoping this works. Hey, we have something, and it's in the right spot. Margin 0. That's what the problem is. Okay, so margin 0, we have a margin 20. I wish I didn't have to write margin again on the paragraph tag. But I do want the... Oh, the only way to avoid that is to get fancy with selectors. But I think I need some things to cascade down. Actually, let's hit submit. Let's see if this works, and then we can worry about this margin. So I want something to cascade down. I wonder if I can do something like a different, up the scale. No, I can't up the scale. It's just doing odd things. It's still the same shape. So let's leave the margin on there. At least we got 100%. I'm okay with this solution. This border radius is definitely much better than putting a radial gradient on it and then sizing and shaping a whole nother element. So that was preferred. 100%. I wonder how tall. This, it'd probably be like 150 pixels, so I don't, it's going to be over 3 digits, so that's about as good as it's going to get. Although, if it is 3 digits and I don't need there we go. There, I don't need the percentage sign. I can just do default. This margin 0, that's the only thing if I could get rid of. Well, and fix these pixels. 60 would be like 20 VH. Yeah, it's not more. There's things we could change it into, but I think it's just Q. So if you have things you can change it into, that'd probably be the way to go. Isolating margin. I know I can do it. I can do it with selectors. That's the easiest way. Setting up font, I think you'd be setting up longer characters to put it as M and then doing font anyways, and you just break even. So that's not worth it. Variables, it's not worth it. Again, you'll break even. So margin is the only thing that I want to isolate between elements. Like, I don't want this margin to cascade down, and I don't want this margin to cascade down. So if I don't use a star selector, if I write body, oh, and comma P, yeah, see, I'm already defeating the purpose because I want that to cascade down. So if I just select the body, then yeah, this margin becomes unnecessary. But then I also don't get the background. So I'd have to write, here's what I have to do. I have to write a separate selector to just put margin into. And it'd be something like this. It'd be star plus star, right? And we take this margin. I was going to leave it, but I couldn't leave it. And then we get rid of that. And hey, what do you know? I wasn't paying attention to characters before I did that, but I think it'll be okay once I get things minified down. Oops. So another thing I can do is actually reorder these lines. Put that back on, because if the gradient is on the end, I can get rid of the parentheses, so that's one more character. I don't know why I'm nitpicking about characters. I need to fix all these pixel amounts. 135 degrees is something. 105, let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 35 VH. 70 pixels is something, and I'm drawing a blank. I could do Q, I bet, if I really want to. Submit. Seems decent. 97.3. Oh, I see why. I've totally missed that I messed that up somewhere. You probably saw it and were like, what are you doing, dude? Don't you see that? And I was like, no, I don't. Okay. Okay, so that's working again. Why did our body lose? Oh, I see. The background got moved. It got moved into our P tag. So I can't do that extra little trick of taking that thing off. I can't, because it has to be the last thing. And so we can't do that. But that's okay. I'd rather things work. Okay, now let's hit submit and see what happens with the 74Q. It works. Took it. Where are we at on time? 15 seconds left. Yeah, we can change the 60 pixels. That doesn't look as good. Let's hit submit. There's our timer. It's good. 99.9. I'm going to leave it out of time. Cool. Let me know how you do. If it's better and I was of assistance. Awesome. I like that. I like the collaboration. I don't mind being like a maybe, you know, just something that you can use to do better, like avoid mistakes and then find an even better solution. If it speeds you up, like, great. It bothers me. It doesn't bother me at all, actually. I think that's really awesome. So 214, I'm okay with that. That's all right. I think this margin here, there's still a better solution than doing the selectors. But yeah, I don't mind the solution. Cool. All right, thanks. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you build something cool. Catch you later.